But as you can see, we're looking at some quality KPIs. So first and foremost, quality is such a broad topic, and the KPIs around quality can be very, very specific to a company. And that is the reason I usually don't create templates for quality. But this is a very special submission that was brought to us, and they're counting total submitted documents, because there's a lot of documents for a construction project that has to be reviewed and submitted for approval. So looking at how many documents were submitted, how many have been approved, and what is the efficiency rate. So efficiency rate, they are actually estimating it as a percentage of the approved from the total submission, and the remainder becomes the rejection rate, right? So they've looked at a lot of KPIs on document that has been submitted, like internal and external audit completion rate. So they need to submit documents showing that they've carried out all the audits, internal and external, right? Benchmarking it against a target. So usually the metrics for all of these things could be captured in another template. For some reason, we are collating all of these, basically all of these in this set of documents. That's what we did for them in terms of streamlining the structure, but I'll be showing the structure in a bit. So they have documents, approval, efficiency, hiring, manpower, aspect, staffing, schedule, inspection, approval rate, and a lot. So these are all the visuals we use for the KPIs, and then we brought all of them together. So this KPI is basically put in a table where we can look at each of them and compare against the other and look at which one is the highest, and we use conditional formatting basically to show the highest and the lowest and all of that, and have the trend chart of the efficiency rate over here. So that's more like an efficiency trend over a monthly time frame. Now this is what we did, and basically we developed the structure on the template like this for a continuous data set. So that's exactly what we did. Now let's look at what we received from the customer when we are trying to look at this. This is actually the problem. The problem was the fact that they are trying to capture all of these KPIs on separate sheets. This seems to be a very common challenge with a lot of people, that they literally capture KPIs in separate sheets and they want to find a way of bringing all of them together. There could be various ways of going about it anyway, but one of the best strategies actually restructure the template such that you can put everything within the same table so that you can do your analysis from a data set that is continuous. So all they have to do is that they just have to provide the dates, the KPI, they select from a drop down list, total submitted, total approved, the rejected rate is calculated automatically together with the efficiency rate. And that's pretty much what we did, right? So when we look at a template like this, same structure, but we just sort of had to modify it a little bit, all right? Another challenge with this template was the fact that they didn't have a system of bringing all of them together. So they were struggling on how they could bring all of them together. And another problem that I noticed was the fact that they were actually comparing different data types in the same visual. So you're having numbers of planned and actual, or total submission and then the approved submission, right? And then they were having like some percentage also within the same series, as you can see. But then the best could have been like a combo chart where they have the plan against the actual in column chart, and they will have another line which will be like for the percentage as a secondary axis or secondary data series, right? So with this strategy, it wasn't working. Even though a combo chart would work with a template, a sheet like this, it wouldn't work well to sort of combine them in a very structured way, because again, there's so much duplication of effort. You are inputting data here, you have to then find a way of bringing them together here, and then you have to find a way of bringing them together on a dashboard. And as you can see, all of these are from different sheets, so there's nothing to filter. It is not dynamic. Basically, you can't drill down within any time frame. So then what it meant is that everything was a manual entry. Even with this one, they cannot filter. They were trying to put a filter in this dashboard, but it wasn't working. And again, they bring all the KPIs here, and they are bringing this conditional formatting that doesn't make sense, because when it comes to conditional formatting like this, it works with one KPI that you're trying to analyze over a time frame. So that's more like time intelligence analysis, and for that reason, it could be the same KPI but over a period like January to December, and for that reason, there was a problem with this, as you can see. So this is where we came in, just to make sure that the whole structure of the template is properly streamlined, and they have this monthly report which they've already put together. We just had to make sure that everything that was in the source data, once we bring in the summary, the calculation through pivot table, we can be able to pull them into this very column. So there are some columns that were dedicated for, or some cells that were dedicated for pulling the figures for each of the KPIs. So we did that. So how did we do that? We simply we restructured this template, we loaded it into Power Query, and then we removed the now. So all the spaces below, we had to remove them from the data set in Power Query. I don't want to go into Power Query because this Excel can be slow sometimes. I don't want to go into Power Query. And then also we just created our calculations. So let's have a look at the calculation section. So that's pretty much, this is what we use for the dashboard. So we brought in all the visuals, we created all the bar charts, right, for each of the KPIs. And then we also did a trend, which is this one. There's a trend, and that is basically the visual that we use for this pivot table. And then again, this table is dynamic. This is a table for all the KPIs, looking at the rejection rate and efficiency rates. This is dynamic. It adjusts automatically just because we brought this here. There's a pivot table. We created a pivot table. We did the conditional formatting nicely. We changed the design of the pivot table, and then we copied this and then brought it into the dashboard and pasted as linked picture, right? So usually we cannot have a table on a shape, but if you paste it as a linked picture, then you'll be able to have it on a shape. So this is how basically the dashboard looks. You can now filter by each month. As as you can see, you can then even, sort of look at a couple of months, multiple months like this, or you can select all of them. Yes, so that is pretty much what we did. That's how exciting it is to work on, do a major workover on a template, just because they are looking at 2026 differently. They want to make sure that their system of work is properly streamlined for data collection with the right structure, right? And then we'll be able to do some analysis on the data set. So that's pretty much what it is. So come 2026, you want to upskill yourself. You want to learn how to work with data so that all the data that you're sitting on, you're able to analyze. But just remember that if you cannot measure, you cannot improve. You can only measure what you have data for. And if you have a data and you're not measuring it, it sort of goes against you in some way, because you're not demonstrating competence to your top management that you know what you're doing and all that. So I'm here to help you. Do get in touch with me. I'm going to ensure that you have the skill you need to analyze your data. Or if you don't want to learn the skill, you can bring it to me. I'll analyze for you. I'm going to see you guys in another video. Happy New Year, and I'm going to see you guys in 2026. Cheers. Bye for now.